Well, I think that there's a number of reasons right now. First of all, it's a manufactured crisis. This, particularly if we look at the Florida bill, the 1557, what they've adopted as the Don't Say Gay bill, which of course is not that whatsoever. The Democrats are doing terribly right now. We're going into a midterm election, and so they have to manufacture a crisis. Why children in particular? I think it's because the LGBT community is being governed by what I call the oppression industry. These are groups like the Human Rights Campaign. If you look at the Black community, the NAACP, these are so-called civil rights organizations who have run out of things to be upset about. If you talk about racism or homophobia, these are commodities for which there is a lot of demand, but very little supply for these organizations. So now they have to turn in order to say, oh, we're so oppressed, please send us money, they have to turn their attention toward children. And also, it's got a kind of a dual added benefit of once you start telling 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds about radical gender ideology and telling them that anybody who opposes this is a bigot, well, guess what? You're basically turning schools into training camps for little leftists and progressives who are eventually going to vote for the Democrat Party.
Brandon, that is fascinating. Thank you. You figured it out. That's it.
That's part of it.
The financial incentive. Why are corporations going along with this? They're so easily manipulated. I put forward earlier, they're afraid of the mob and they're not used to criticism. The guy who gets to become CEO, he can't be very prominent on the internet for the wrong reason. So they'll do anything to not be the subject of an internet frenzy.
Right. And if you look at something like Disney right now, I mean, this is one of the most ludicrous examples we've seen of somebody not identifying with their target audience. I mean, again, this really all started with the Florida bill, HB 1557, which is called the Parental Rights and Education Bill. This is a bill that essentially is saying that teachers, educational institutions don't have the right to keep secrets from parents. So people shouldn't be encouraging children to take puberty blockers or encouraging children to say that they can choose one of 87 different genders and then they don't have to tell their parents about that. So you've got the most family-friendly supposedly organization in the world saying that they're going to side with gender radicals instead of parents of children who have institutionalized or who have patronized this company, the Disney organization, for generations. It's insane, and it makes absolutely no sense, and it's going to blow up in their faces. I don't think that we're going to find overwhelmingly that most parents are going to want their children tuning into content that has an increasing push towards what they're calling queerness. And let me just tell you, as a gay man, I find that term to be really disgusting.
So, I mean, what you say is logical. So why do we have top executives just diving in? Dollars and cents, what you say makes sense. Is it fear? Is it, I just don't understand, like, the aggressiveness, how they've embraced this so much.
All I can tell you is that, again, this sort of seems to be the new narrative of the left of bigotry, and it's about following trends, just like when we saw with what happened with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. This Florida bill is kind of their new George Floyd moment in a way. It's become a trend, and it's become very big money, I think, to say the big bad Republicans are being bigoted again. The big bad Republicans are picking on minority communities, but again, they don't have any real justification to claim that they're being oppressed. The George Floyd incident had nothing to do with racism or prevalent white supremacy in this country, just as the Florida bill has nothing to do with any rise of homophobia or transphobia in this country. They had to actually manufacture this crisis, and then they know that if they try to push and show people, oh, look how woke we are, look how modern and with the times we are, pushing back against the big bad conservatives, that somehow this is going to have a positive impact on their bottom line, and it's not. I really think in this instance, it's going to blow up in their face. We've been seeing it for the last year or two. The effect when you mess with parents and when you mess with children, it's not a good area to get into. And I think Disney's about to find that out the hardest of possible ways.
I only have about 30 seconds left. LGBTQ, now it's IA plus, LGBTQ. and I hear about the LGBTQ community, as if everybody who's LGBTQ must think the same way. That doesn't sound at all logical. That doesn't seem right. I'd like to get your perspective on that, because if you were part of the, you know what I mean? I mean, you're conservative and you're gay. It just,
I am.
Why do they say this? Why do they put it that way? They're trying, and a lot of folks buy it. Corporations buy it. Oh, you're gay. Oh, you're lesbian. You must think or vote a certain way.
Right. Well, again, they have to keep adding letters to the acronym because this is the way that they can keep this oppression industry in business. Nobody cares anymore if you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, or even transgender. It's not an issue for anybody. So they have to keep making up gender radical identities. They have to keep making up make-believe conditions so that they can say, oh, they're pushing back on us. Look how bigoted they are. Send us money. Send us money. No, I don't buy into any of it. Neither should anyone else. And don't even acknowledge anything after the T. There is no such thing as the QIA2+ or anything else. LGBT is more than enough.
Okay, we got it. I like that.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Experts are warning the current 40-year inflation high will only get worse. See how to protect your IRA with gold. Get a free info kit like this one at birchgold.com/Newsmax. There's no cost. There's no obligation. Just get your free info kit at birchgold.com/Newsmax.